Fuck. You know what? We've already started rolling. We got a little slight delay here, but we're just going to open the show. Welcome to the Scruffy Ginger Podcast. I'm your host, your Scruffy Ginger, Matt Graves. We've got, finally, we've got Drew goddamn Whorley on the phone, talking Titans. But first, the reason for the slight pause, reason why we can't go back and re-record, is I'm not going to go waste another drink. We got the cans popping. That's fine. My hands were not fast enough to get to the clip in time. But we're going to start with the clip, going to play it anyways. And Drew, you can give your feedback as we're rolling. This is from, you guys will recognize his voice, Barstool President, El Presidente, whatever he calls himself. Here we go.
Listen. South Beach, tan, wind, breeze, surfer hair, beach head, frosé. Not a bad drink. That's not why I'm here. Here's the thing. I was supposed to be flying home. See those birds like them. Back to Miami. I'm in Miami. Back to New York. I was supposed to be on a plane. Didn't get much sleep last night. New Year's Eve, I'm worried about a lot of different things on my mind. I wake up, I say, you know what? I'm going to relax today. I'm going to go home tomorrow. Just rolled to the beach a minute ago. First thing I see, Tom Brady. Yeah, Michigan's losing by 100. Don't care about them. You know all you care about? Tom Brady. 2020, this Instagram post. 2020, arms raised like a champion, still here. This is deja vu. I was in Miami last time he did this still here post. You know what happened when everyone wrote him off, including a little bit me? They came back, they shoved their foot up your ass and won the Super Bowl. I admit it. I couldn't believe we lost to Dolphins. Dolphins mammal. How do we lose to mammals at home when it's cold out and they can't swim? I don't know. So I started to doubt it. Then Tom Brady goes this. He says, 2020 still here. Hey, still defending Super Bowl champs. Still defending Super Bowl champs.
For now.
6 times. 6 Lombardies. The greatest ever do it at quarterback. The greatest do ever at a coach. They're going to beat us. We're going to go into Kansas City, a bunch of cowards. They think they won the Super Bowl. They're celebrating like they won the Super Bowl for a home game. We're going to kick their ass. And then Lamar Jackson, you're not going to beat it twice. Then we're going off to Miami. I'm going to be right back here. I'm going to stay still here. I am confident. Anybody who's jumping off this bandwagon now, I want you to take a sledgehammer and knock your brains out. This team's done too much. Tom Brady says we're still here. We're still here. Let's fucking go. Playoffs start now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Well, are they still here though? Are they?
Well, I mean,
they made it to the playoffs. We'll give them that. And they definitely have a better record, but you got to play the fucking one of the worst divisions in the league.
Absolutely. And I mean, you know, similar to what Manning did when he was, you know, every great quarterback's career comes to a close. Age catches up with everyone. And I think we're seeing some parallels between the end of Manning's career and the end of Brady's, in that it's the defense that carried them this year. And they're going to have to come up with a lot more offense if they want to defend their title. And Brady's going to have to play a lot better. The question is, though, is he capable of doing that? Maybe. I mean, you know, he's certainly done it in the past, but they just don't look very good right now, to be honest. They kind of look like complete shit, just to be frank.
That's the thing. And, like, I mean, I'm sure that they're going to get some kind of pep talk from Brady and just say, you're not going to let me lose this kind of thing. You know, I'm going to be – I mean, what did 6 tie the record, or is 6 breaking the record for Brady for most Super Bowls?
I'm pretty sure he's tied the record now. I'll admit, before we get too deep into this, I'm not the biggest NFL stats and this number of championships guy, but just because, you know, Peyton Manning's so big around here and a lot of the comparisons always come up between Brady and Manning, I'm pretty sure that 6 is tied. I believe that's correct. Yeah. We can look that up.
Yeah. In the end, who really cares? But yeah, it's either tied or breaking. And he's here's my problem with the Patriots. I don't have their schedule pulled up. I guess I could pull it up here. Since Ryan Tannehill has taken over, you mentioned their defense. It has going to step up in a big way because their offense is not producing. They're not putting up the amount of points that we're putting up. Since Tannehill took over, which I believe was week 8,
correct.
I believe, against the Buccaneers, or was it the Chargers?
I think I have the Titans schedule pulled up here. Maybe we can kind of figure it out. I can't remember which one of those two that it was.
So either way, here's the Titans scores going, starting in week 8, going to the rest of the season. 27, 20, 35, 42, 31, 42, 21, 28, 35. They're not putting up those kinds of points, and we're playing fucking good teams throughout this stretch.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, 35 against Kansas City, 42 against Oakland. Even the New Orleans game, which we lost after getting up 14-0, there were so many positives that you could take from that game. And obviously that game ended up mattering absolutely nothing as far as our playoff chances. You know, the Titans are playing a better brand of football right now than the Patriots are. I mean, I don't think that's really up for debate. You know, I think the only reason that people are writing the Titans off is because it's the Patriots, it's Belichick, it's Brady in the playoffs, in Foxborough, in the frozen tundra. And, you know, usually the Titans fall apart in games like this. But when's the last time the Titans had a quarterback like this going into the playoffs? And the thing that's interesting is it's the guy's first playoff start. And I think that might be one of the most interesting dynamics in all of this is how does Ryan Tannehill respond in his first playoff start on the road in Foxborough against the defending champions? I feel pretty good about it. I mean,
if you look at his entire career was in Miami, in the fucking hot, humid Miami. He comes up to Tennessee, and mind you, he was in Texas A&M before that, so he's always been used to the warmth. And playing in Nashville, a little chillier, but I don't know if you saw this. I don't think we've talked about it. Tannehill was named the AFC Offensive Player. I don't even know if it's offensive. It might just be Player of the Month for December.
Wow. That doesn't surprise me at all, though. I mean, it really doesn't.
He's been fucking unreal. But that's kind of my point, is that like it's crazy that a quarterback that is used to the heat for his entire career is playing in some colder games, and he's the Player of the Month. I mean, he's been playing lights out recently, and you mentioned the Saints game. That's without Derrick Henry. That's 28 points. That's not involving Derrick Henry. I mean, you can't just say if he was playing, maybe we would have won. At the end of the day, again, hindsight, it doesn't matter. In that moment, though, that was huge because that was still the division was on the line at that point.
Absolutely.
Or what? It doesn't matter. I was just thinking if it was locked up or by us losing that gave it to the Texans, or if they already had it and that's why we didn't start Henry.
I'm pretty sure that they already had it pretty much locked up before we went into that game, but I could be wrong. Or it became clear during the course of that game because of other results. I think like what happened with the Steelers and the Texans, that game didn't matter.
Yeah.
Because the Texans won earlier in the day.
Yeah, you're right. That's definitely what it was. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at you mentioned how people are writing off the Titans, and I mean, I get it because historically we are not one of the better teams in the NFL. But if you look at our relatively recent record over the past several years of going to the playoffs and winning playoff games, I guess I should say.
Exactly, that's what I was about to say. The Titans are really good for – it's like they have just enough gas left in the tank to get one big win or compete until the very end, and then they fall apart in the next game. What is the difference now? I think it's a couple of things. One, I think you finally have a quarterback that you feel is going to be consistent. You know, Marcus Mariota, you didn't know what you were going to get game to game, and I'm sure we'll talk about him a little bit more later, but now you have a quarterback who's consistent. You have a running back who's finally coming to his own. You have an offensive line that is finally starting to click, and you have a defense that is really, really starting to play lights out football. I mean, and let's be clear. When we say people are writing off the Titans, nobody in Tennessee is writing off the Titans because we know what this team's about.
Yeah.
And all these national media people, I mean, they can fuck off, frankly. I don't care what they think. All that matters is what happens between the lines. And I think if you take the subjectivity out of it and you remove the logos and you just look at what's happened the last several weeks, there's no reason to think the Titans can't win this game. None at all.
Now, we're a better football team right now. And I know that's the reason why that statement would be controversial is because Tom Brady is still playing for the Patriots. If Tom Brady was not on that team, people wouldn't even be making an argument. It'd be like the Titans are the clear favorites. The only reason that here's what sort of pisses me off is the only reason the Patriots are favorites is because, I mean, I guess aside from their better record, is that they're playing. It's in Foxborough,
right? Yeah, that's it. And I mean, there's power. There's power in brand and there's power in name. Those things resonate. So the fact that it's the Titans, I guess you'd call it a mid-major market, even though Nashville is growing exponentially. And I don't know at what point in time people start to view the Titans as a major market team with the growth of Nashville, and probably winning a game like this would help. But, you're playing a name brand. You're playing the Patriots. You're playing in Foxborough. You're playing Brady and Belichick. And that's pretty much all it is. It's like you said, if you remove Tom Brady from this, even if you put in a better quarterback, but just wasn't named Tom Brady, I think that people would be giving the Titans a lot better chance. And I'm like you, it pisses me off that people aren't. But doesn't matter. Saturday, 8:15, none of that matters at all. They're going to have to line it up. And I think the Titans are going to run it down their throats. I really do.
Yeah, and here's what I'm excited about is that they're going to have to stop Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is fucking unreal right now. Aside from the fact that he didn't play on against the Saints and the week before against the Texans, I think he only had like 88 yards. You take those two instances out, one where he's not even playing, and still managed to get the rushing title, even without sitting out a game. Fuck you, rest of the NFL. He's been over 100 for I think it was 4 or 5 straight games. Aside from those two instances, I mean, he had fucking 211 yards against the Texans, who, granted, they didn't have a whole lot to play for, but you know they wanted to get us out of the playoffs because they don't want to see us again. No,
they don't. And I mean, you're absolutely right. They don't. They had A.J. McCarron in, so, the Titans would have really had to fuck up if not won that game. But that everyone in Houston, at least, from the fan base standpoint, at the very least, would have loved to have seen them knock us out. No doubt about it.
Yeah, they wanted to play spoiler for sure. And it was pretty obvious. I mean, because McCarron was, like any backup should, he was playing for an extension. He was playing for either whether it's with the Texans or someone else. I mean, he wanted to put some film together to be able to show it to teams. So,
we got his best shot. I mean, no doubt about it. And I've just got to say, side note, I hate A.J. McCarron. I hate Alabama. And it sure felt good to see a team that said Tennessee just absolutely put his ass in the dirt. It felt really good. So, side note, but fuck A.J. McCarron and Alabama.
Yeah, and we'll get to the Vols a little bit later for sure because that was a fucking roller coaster last night. But and we were watching together at your place. Happy belated birthday!
Thank you, sir.
I did not forget to mention that to you on the podcast. So we'll get it. Anyways, we'll get into that later. Sorry, we'll explain why that's so, in my opinion, hilarious later. Okay, so here's the matchup to look for. Because Derrick Henry is such a force right now, and we're going to go on a quick side note too, because I don't know if you saw this. You took Instagram and everything off your phone. So unless you do like a Reddit.
No social media 2020. Get on the train.
Yeah, I'm already off the train. Here is a legitimate article. Literally, a winter storm named Henry is sweeping across the U.S., and it is set to hit New England on Saturday. Man. According to the Weather Channel, Henry, which has spilled mostly rain across the Midwest as it moves eastward, could develop into snowfall in the New England area by Saturday night.
Phew.
What?
Yeah.
The fuck, dude?
I mean, it's the perfect culmination of events. We're going to crucify Tom Brady and end his career. It's going to be glorious. And, it's funny you said that. I did not know. As you know, Matt, I'm kind of a weather geek. Anyone who's known me for a significant amount of time will tell you that. So I have some stuff pulled up that I wanted to go over. So Foxborough, Massachusetts, the forecast for Saturday, obviously kickoffs at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. The high temperature is 44 degrees, the low is 33. There's an 80% chance of rain. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Saturday night, rain, snow mix, low of 33. So, if we see any drop in temperature, there is a chance that we could have a snowball on our hands. And I do believe with the way the Titans play, and especially the way they turned it on late. See, Matt, I don't know about you, but that's my favorite thing about watching these Tennessee Titans. They're like a fine wine. They get better with age. It gets better as the game goes on. They wear you down. They shove it down your throat, and there's nothing you can do about it towards the end of the game. I'll tell you this, if the game is close, late, and the Titans have the ball, you can go ahead. It's sealed, signed, and delivered. We're going to run it down your throat. We're either going to get a field goal or a touchdown. We're going to win the game. Because you can't stop the Titans late running the football. You can't.
No, you can't. And here's like the only for those who haven't played football, it's like, I mean, let's be honest. I was on the team. I watched a lot from the sidelines.
I'm a big Michael Fromke guy. Great quarterback.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he walked onto you.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Spring game legend.
Did not know we were going to have a Michael Fromke shout out, but there you go.
You're the man, Mike.
Yeah. Hope you're doing well. I haven't spoken to you in like 10 years, so.
Wow, I threw you off your game with that.
You really did.
You're really rattled.
Here we go. We're back on track. You're playing in that kind of weather. Derrick Henry is 254, I think, pounds, and it's like playing in the cold. It's like playing in a cold soccer game, and mentally, if somebody's about to drill that soccer ball, maybe it's a little wet. That thing, it doesn't necessarily freeze, but when they launch that ball, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, I'm going to make it look like I'm trying to make a play, but I want to avoid my body in front of that ball.
I want to avoid that at all costs. Matt, can you imagine? Can you just imagine for a second? I don't give a shit how big you are in your dreams, what race you are in your dreams, how fast you are in your dreams. Can you imagine for a second seeing that big ball of American muscle running at your ass on a gridiron? I mean, I want no part. That's the thing of nightmares. I don't care how big you are. No one wants to tackle that. And the later it gets in the game and the more worn down you get, the more that fear grows. And I hope that is the situation that we see unfold, because watching the Titans beat the Patriots in that way would be so poetic. It would be beautiful.
Yeah. And here's what I like about Derrick Henry's persona is that, yes, he's driven. Yes, he's excited to be the NFL rushing leader. Yes, I don't know if you saw this. He made second team All-Pro, which
wow,
which I'm thinking
deserved. I mean, it should have been first team, but whatever.
Yeah,
Once again, Titans.
I didn't see who had won the first team, but
don't either.
Don't know. Don't care. Second team All-Pro, still very impressive, and but he doesn't. Like, you can just look, like, when you listen to his interviews and you just watch him speak, those are side notes to the season. Like, he has one mission, which is to annihilate you in the run game.
Absolutely.
And he does a damn good job of doing that.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, too. As you know, I'm more of a college football guy. And, yeah, I hate the University of Alabama, but it's not from a lack of respect. I have so much respect for Nick Saban and his program from a standpoint of what they've accomplished on the field and how they do it. And I'm going to tell you right now, that mindset, that mentality, that drive to win, to dominate, to overwhelm you on the ground, that comes directly from Nick Saban. That's SEC football 101. We're going to pound you into the ground, and it's not about me. The mission's on one thing and one thing only, and that's winning the championship. And that's what Nick Saban, you look at, I'm sure that they've had guys that have had instances here and there, but that's the mind. If you look across the league at all of those skill position guys like that, they're all that way. I mean, I guess if you say Julio Jones is kind of the antithesis of that a little bit, maybe you could label him as selfish, but these Bama boys, when they get into the league, they have one mission in mind. That's to dominate you. It's to win at all costs. And they've learned that at the collegiate level. And hey, it translates well to the NFL. So
yeah,
got to give a shout out to the SEC on that one, and Bama and Nick Saban in particular.
Yeah, I mean, we see that with Rashaan Evans too. I mean, with kind of just anchoring that linebacking core. I guess he's not necessarily the anchor. I guess he and Jayon kind of take turns being the mic, but it's. I said that with a lot of confidence. I have no idea what position.
We'll run with it. Exactly. We'll run with it. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, who cares? We see that with Rashaan. We see that with Derek. I mean, the thing that's crazy is it was just last season, about halfway through, when you look at the first 8 games, or for the sake of the conversation, we'll just say the first half of the season, Derrick Henry was a nobody.
Absolutely. I mean, he was. I want to ask you something, because I want you know more about the Titans than probably anyone that I know. And I wanted to, this is exactly what I wanted to segue into with this topic. You would think, from even an amateur football mind standpoint, that Derrick Henry would have stood to benefit more from having an RPO run threat quarterback, because now not all eyes are on him. You have eyes on Marcus Mariota as well, which you would think that would benefit a big running back like that, because it's going to take guys to the edge, out of the box. They're going to have to spy on the quarterback. What is it about Marcus Mariota that was so bad that it hurt Derrick Henry, and what has Tannehill done right that has helped Derrick Henry?
It's it's a really good question. It is 100% a lack of confidence. And I'll go deeper into that. So we'll start with his pressers at the end of the game, which I used to watch on a regular basis after each game. And every single time, Marcus Mariota would say, "We're going to learn from this. We're going to get better. I'm going to get better." Well, motherfucker, you had 4 years to get better, and something's just not right. Something's not clicking. There were a couple offensive coordinators that would not let him do what he is born to do, or gifted to do, which is to also be a dual threat. But you get into Vrabel's scheme and Matt LaFleur last year, which is, let's let him do what he's gifted to do. Let's let him run a little bit, if he wants to. If he sees a hole, if he sees an open field, allow him to, give him the confidence to be able to take those reads and run with them, literally and figuratively. And so I think that is what it is. But you look at, because I agree with you, a dual threat quarterback would do wonders for Derrick Henry. And side note, I would argue that Tannehill is a dual threat with the way that he's able to run the ball at times. Very similar to Aaron Rodgers, but I think better. He's faster, more elusive. He played receiver in college, for those that don't know. Anyways, that's a side note. But back to Mariota, the thing that was so frustrating to him is that he wasn't able to go through his progressions fast enough. He wasn't able to trust his receivers. He wasn't able to make obviously, at times he did do these things, but for the majority of the time, he wasn't able to take risks to throw the ball in a tight window, and the pocket would collapse on him. He would just take way too long. And I think in college, and I think this is what may have messed him up, is that he was, and I'd have to go back and watch the film, but he would be able to take a few more seconds.
Absolutely.
Through his progressions.
Pac-12 football, man. I mean,
Yeah. And
traditionally no defense. Yeah.
Yeah. He'd be able to escape those defenses. And I think that just really didn't translate it when you went to the NFL. These guys are the best of the best at what they do. Either you take the fucking middle school Jacksonville Jaguars over here. They still have high-quality players. There's only 53 people on each team that make an active roster. And you look at the amount of college football teams out there, people that want to make to the NFL. Most of them are never going to make it. You might make a practice squad. You'll probably I don't know how difficult it is to make a practice squad, but to make a 53-man roster is fucking hard. And I think I don't think he was used to that talent. I think that's what it comes down to. And he just, because he's a good football player, and I think that. Or he has, I guess, the blueprint to be a good football player. I think a fresh start's going to be good for him. I don't know where he's going to get that. I don't think a team is going to sign him as their starter. I think he'll have to earn that. I think he'll be a backup for a year, maybe two. But that sucks. But he doesn't have enough film to be able to convince somebody that he's a starting quarterback, which sucks because. Like, we've all seen him make those plays. You go back to the Chiefs playoff game. He won us that game.
Absolutely. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
And so, there's so many. And again, in his fourth quarter game-winning drive percentage is actually really high. So, like, he does
Think of the Eagles game last year,
The Eagles
moments
game.
like that.
The Lions game a couple of years ago in week 2, he threw it to Andre Johnson, of all people, to win the game in the back of the end zone. That might have been his rookie year, but anyways, he's done it, and so he does enough to keep him around, I guess is what I'm saying. But on a week-to-week basis, that pocket closes faster and faster. The Jags sacked us 9 fucking times. I think it was 9. I almost thought it was 11, but it's definitely 9 times in week 2. Like, that, it's unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. And like, he's missing, that was actually the game that I was watching, and I think everybody's eyes were opened. I mean, he was, granted, yes, it was pouring down rain, but the Jags had to deal with that too. And he was missing wide open receivers. And then, of course, he got sacked 9 times, and you can attribute that to our offensive line. But if you watch the games, he's not making throws. He's not making decisions quick enough. I think that's what it comes down to. That was a really long answer, but
No, I like that. I mean, I'm going to kind of – my thoughts on Marcus Mariota, the things that always frustrated about him the most for me – was his lack of pocket presence. And you touched on that. Yeah. I think a lot of that does come from his days playing Pac-12 football at the University of Oregon. I mean, he played some good teams while he was there, but his main competition was Stanford. And let's be honest, when you compare the kind of football that he was playing against what a lot of these SEC guys have gone up against, it's laughable. The Pac-12 has not won a championship in the playoff era. Frankly, they haven't even come close. And I think one thing that will be really interesting is Justin Herbert is predicted to be, I believe right now he's the number 3 quarterback prospect on the board. Obviously Joe Burrow at LSU is number 1, and then Tua is number 2, but as we all know, Tua, he suffered that terrible injury. So I really think that there's a good chance that Herbert goes number 2. And just as kind of a side note, I'm not saying there will be any correlation, but let's see how his career plays out in comparison to this. Running a similar offense, I think Herbert has a truer arm than Mariota did. I think he's a little bit better at going through the reads and finding the open guy. So that will be interesting to me, because Oregon really hasn't had a quarterback that in that offensive scheme that really panned out that well, which is surprising because there have been some pretty good ones that have come out of there in our lifetime. I mean, going all the way back to Joey Harrington, but there's something about that style of football in the Pac-12 that just does not translate very well to the NFL. Now, I'm speaking about quarterbacks in particular because obviously, I mean, probably the most dynamic player in the NFL right now is Christian McCaffrey, right? I mean, he went to Stanford. So I'm not saying that league doesn't produce good players, but, Marcus Mariota, for whatever reason, he did not read the pocket well at all. And he thought he had way too much time, which I believe a lot of times translated to the offensive line being labeled as inept. They would get a ton of holding calls because the guy would just hold on to the fucking football for too long. And frankly, a lot of his injury problems were the direct result of him holding on to the football too long and not feeling the pressure coming from his 6. And he would get it rolled up on, get hurt, get his hand hit, whatever. And then I think you're right. The last thing that you said that's true is, and I think the reason that Derrick Henry is performing so much better with Tannehill is because I think Tannehill does a better job of checking the play, audibling, getting the guys where they need to be, switching the runs when they need to be switched, recognizing blitzes and schemes and zones and coverages, and putting our guys in the best position to succeed. Now, I don't know, I'm not breaking down the film like some of these guys, but, just from drinking beer, watching it on my couch on a Sunday, it surely seems like those are the things that Tannehill does better. He's more comfortable in the pocket. He gets rid of the football faster, and he goes through his reads much better than Mariota does.
Yeah, and he has the confidence, the swagger. I mean, you look at him, he looks like he's having fun, like all the time. And that's like that big dick energy that just like, that I think we need. And not only coming from Tannehill, but fucking A.J. Brown, dude.
Oh, yeah. Talk about another SEC guy. And, hey, before we move on to that, I'm going to say, to sum up Mariota, I'm going to go first. If you had one word to describe Marcus Mariota, what would it be? For me, it's meek. And that's the problem with him. He was so timid. The only time, Matt, that I can ever remember him showing that, quote, big dick energy was when he got in Jalen Ramsey's face after that run that the game you and I were at together against Jacksonville. That's the only time I can remember him showing that sort of energy that Titans fans have been craving to see. Leadership. That's where your identity stems from. We were talking about the Patriots and their identity and why they're favored. I mean, say what you want about Tom Brady, but if you don't get jacked up watching that guy scream and yell and get into it, his love and passion for the game, you're a fucking psychopath. Marcus Mariota has no energy. And I don't know if it's just a product of where he's from, his culture, his humble demeanor. But, dude, when you get to this point, I mean, I'll take it, I'm a big soccer guy, too. Tell me the 3 best players in the world, for the last, 20 years or so. Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Okay, 2 of those 3 guys have the most outlandish personalities of anyone that you'll ever come across. They've won big titles, and Messi has too. Messi's arguably the greatest of all 3. He's a little more humble, but even him, I would argue, because Argentina they haven't won a Copa America, they haven't won a World Cup, they haven't won any major international hardware since he's been there, and a lot of people attribute that to his lack of leadership and emotion on the pitch for Argentina. So, not to go too far down in the wormhole, but great teams need emotional, passionate leaders, and Mariota never brought that for the Titans. Never.
Yeah, quick note on that. It was someone it had to have been Barstool or someone posted a picture of Messi on the treadmill, and he was watching his own highlights.
Wow, so much for
kind
humility,
of counters
huh?
what
That's funny.
He does have that cockiness, but that's just it could have been coincidental. He probably was watching like ESPN or something, but
who knows? Who knows?
Either way, it's still funny. But yeah, I mean, you touched on Mariota as far as like his personality for your one word. I think my one word, and it sounded like a parent shaking his finger, I'd say just disappointing. I mean, you're number 2.
That's the most all-encompassing word for it.
Number 2 overall pick. I mean, that again, like not every one of your draft picks is going to be a home run, even in the first round. But if you, I think low key, because Robinson, John Robinson, forgot his first name for half a second, he did not draft Mariota. That was Rustin Webster in the Ken Wisenhunt era. And those 2 guys were on the fucking hot seat. And so it was like they needed that kind of splash to try and save their job. And then we went 1-16 to I'm trying to remember the exact time, but we went 1-15.
Did we go 2-14 or 1-15? It was bad. God, that was brutal.
Well, it was 2 seasons back to back. So we won 3 games in 2 seasons.
Yeah, you see it.
Yeah. So that is the quintessential reason why nobody can call, at least myself, I'll speak for myself, no one can call me a bandwagon because it's hard to be a diehard fan during those times, but,
Well, the thing about that, too, is that college football went through a long spell where there just weren't really elite quarterbacks. That has changed lately. But you look back at Alabama's dominant run, none of those quarterbacks have done fuck all in the NFL. A lot of them are commentators. Like even A.J. McCarron, I would even think of him as like a part-time backup. I mean, his main job is being on the SEC network and ESPN talking about SEC football. I mean, the game has changed, and now we have guys like Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Justin Herbert, Eason, Fromm. There's a lot of promising talent coming in from the college ranks to the pros now, which is really exciting because, frankly, we fucking need it. Because all of these guys who we grew up watching are about to retire. I mean, literally all of them, Drew Brees, Big Ben, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, they're all reaching the end. So we need an influx of talent. And it's exciting that all of these guys are going to be young. And I think it's going to create a lot of parity in the NFL, which is going to be awesome, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. And on that note, because Tannehill, regardless of how great he's playing, he's also getting up there. I think he's either 30 or early 30s.
Yeah, he's been around. He's been around for a while. Yeah, I want to say he's like 30, 31 or 32, maybe even like 33. I mean, honestly, but my whole point was you can't really blame because I mean Jameis hasn't worked out either, right? I mean, Christ, the guy had 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. My point was when you think of a lot of the quarterbacks from that time that the Titans could have taken, how many of them have really worked out? You know, so it's unfortunate that Mariota didn't work out, and I don't know about you, I don't want to spend really too much more time talking about him because it's so unfortunate and it is sad, but you know, the future's bright for the Titans. They have a guy right now that can do it, and you know, it will be interesting to watch this draft to see who do the Titans target, who is a reasonable guy that they can get, because where are we going to be sitting, Matt? Probably like somewhere between 22nd to like 25th or so in the draft.
Well, okay, so once you make the playoffs, yeah. Sorry, I'm just doing the math in my head. It's I mean, we'll be in the low 20 range more than likely.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, I mean that's if we went out during the first week, which I don't think we're going to do. If we keep progressing, I mean, it'll be minimum low 20s.
Yeah, and I mean, there will be a quality quarterback available then. It's just going to be interesting to see, because I think we all know, unfortunately, eventually, unless the Titans trade for someone, the Titans just seem destined to be one of those teams that is just always going to go in cycles. I mean, unless we get some sort of game-changing quarterback drafted, like a Trevor Lawrence, you know, like a Tua, it just seems like we're kind of destined for that. And the reason I say that is because in order to get a quarterback like that, what do you have to do? You have to suck ass.
Yeah.
You have to suck complete ass. So and that's the thing that sucks is, see, the Titans have done that, like you said, and we've had chances to get that kind of quarterback, which is why the Marcus Mariota situation is so disappointing, because when you get to that level of suckage, God damn it, you better capitalize on your draft pick. And the Titans haven't. You can't say they haven't done it. Mariota just didn't translate into the guy that they needed. And that's a shame, because it seems like now we're almost destined to repeat that cycle unless we get a Lamar Jackson type guy. I'm not saying with his skill set. I'm just saying a guy that falls in the draft and ends up just being an absolute monster. I mean, that's possible, but those stories are few and far between. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I really do not want to move up in the draft to get anybody. Honestly, I think this draft, I think we take the best player available. If that happens to be an offensive lineman, fuck it. I mean,
yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm the last person I usually always say a first-round pick with an offensive lineman is the most disappointing kind of pick. But, I mean, you look at Taylor Lewan, Jack Conklin, I don't think we're going to re-sign him. I think we'll just let him walk after his contract. But we need that. And I mean, the great teams have great offensive line. And so it's not a sexy pick, but that's honestly, I think, where we'll go. And because honestly, the receiver position, we're good. We're good there. We're good at running back. And honestly, I don't see us taking a quarterback, at least in the first round, because
sure,
if we can get 2 to 3 more years out of Tannehill, 3 is, I think, pushing it as far as like consistent years. But if we could just get 2 more years, maybe pick up a quarterback,
3rd or 4th round, develop him for a couple years. Yeah.
I say take a chance. You know, if you 3rd or 4th round, see how he does in the offseason, see how he does in the preseason. He's not going to be the starter. Because that's the problem. If you draft someone in the first round, the fan base is going to want them to start, and nobody wants. I mean, if you look back, I'll use Aaron Rodgers. I mean, there's Tom Brady too, but you look at Aaron Rodgers.
Perfect situation.
Hall of Fame quarterback. He sat behind Brett Favre for a couple of years. It wasn't just one. I don't think it was just 1 year.
I believe it was 2 years. And how long did Brady sit behind Bledsoe? I mean, it was at least a year or two. maybe a year, and he retired.
I
But
think
still,
he got injured during his rookie. It doesn't really matter. But
the point is that when you can learn behind that, it helps. And you look at a guy like Tannehill, he's been through wars in the SEC, right? He's played the Alabamas, the Auburns, the LSUs, the Floridas, Georgias, the Tennessees. We suck. But, and now he's getting to showcase his skills finally for a team that's not the Dolphins and, doesn't completely suck. And if we could get the right guy, and like you said, the beautiful thing is we have a couple drafts to do it and get the right guy in the system and let him learn it. And I don't think this system we're running is overly complicated. I mean, for Christ's sake, we have a running back who could probably run for 2,000 yards next year. Hell, he could do it this year if they progress far enough. So, you've got a guy like AJ. Hey, speaking of draft and the Titans, hey, guys, isn't it amazing what fucking happens when you stop drafting guys from Western Kentucky and you start drafting guys from Alabama and Ole Miss? Isn't it pretty fucking remarkable? And Winston-Salem Community College? Fuck out of here. It's about time we started drafting guys from Power 5 schools and stopped trying to make, milkshakes out of mud pies.
I mean, Taylor Taylor is a great example of that. I mean, he never really had – I don't think he ever eclipsed more than 300 yards a season. But he was looked at as like this – the next, Tyreek Hill, take him off. No.
Dude, you played in, Conference USA or Sun Belt, whatever the fuck Western Kentucky. Those guys are few and far between. I mean, you look at – I guess the quintessential mid-major FCS guys that worked out, at least immediately come to my mind. One, Randy Moss. Okay, he was at Marshall. He won FCS national championships with the Thundering Herd. The big game on their schedule was always the national championship against Montana. All right. Well, let's not forget the only reason he was at Marshall was because of his own, problems. I mean, he was signed with Notre Dame and Florida State. And then Joe Flacco. I mean, he played at Delaware, but even he's kind of flamed out now. So, I mean, the point is usually if you draft battle-tested, high-level Power 5 guys, they're usually going to turn out better than conference dipshit dicky-doo guys, right? So it's just nice to see the Titans starting to draft these high-level guys. And, hey, but even then, Oregon, Marcus Mariota. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I like our odds a lot better drafting guys like that than the Taylor Lewans of the world, taking chances that probably aren't going to work.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. As far as offensive line goes, you better give me an Alabama, and I hate to say it because I know you hate them, a Georgia, an Iowa, Nebraska. Give me a fucking giant of a human being. I'm sorry, Nate Davis, it seems like every fucking game, and I get it, he's a rookie, I get it, but we're going to the playoffs, and he's committing foul or penalty after penalty, and we got him from UNC Charlotte. It's dude, it's very frustrating to see somebody like that. Now, again, we're late in the season. He's had a whole season to learn. Hopefully he doesn't become a problem. But to what you were saying, give me somebody from a Power 5 school that has seen the best defensive line in the country and bring them on.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times those guys who don't, they're shell-shocked when they get to the league. And I think what hurts about that is you have this extra time of acclimation and adjustment. Fuck all that. I want guys who come in and are ready to go. I mean, we don't have time to sit on our laurels and wait because, like we talked about at the beginning of all this, we are a franchise, and I would argue the franchise. I know I'm biased, but I truly believe this. I believe the Titans are the franchise that are habitually having to vie for respect across the league. And I think it pisses Titans fans off because I think some of it is because we're in the South. I think a lot of it is because, Nashville, I can't remember the exact stat. You hear this fly around all the time, but Nashville in the next few years is slated to become a bigger city than Denver. The state of Tennessee is growing at an exponential rate. Sports matter in this state. When you look at the ratings for any fucking sporting event in this country, Knoxville, Nashville are always at, in, or around the top 10. So sports matter here. So when people treat the Titans like a small tier market, like a Cincinnati, right? Like just these shitty markets, I think we take that personally. And I think that's another reason to get back to the game against the Patriots. This is a real opportunity to hold our middle fingers to the sports media world and to the blue blood, I'm fucking holier than thou NFL fans of the world and say, fuck you, we're here. Nashville is a big market city. We're a big market team. And we want to assert our standing in the league moving forward. Because, Matt, how many times have the Titans won a game, against a good team, and you turn on ESPN or CBS or whatever, and they're doing highlights for the day, and the Titans don't get a lick of damn respect for what they did. I mean,
no, it's all, what's funny about that is let's just take, I'll have to go back and actually watch it, which I'm not actually going to do. But if you look at last season, when we beat the Patriots at home, when we beat the Eagles at home, defending Super Bowl champions at that time, or that was that 2 years ago?
No, I believe that was last year. Year.
So, and like the in-between commercials, they show the highlights. We could be up by 2 touchdowns, and they're not even showing our highlights. They're showing the other team's highlights going into commercial, and they'll show our players like getting hyped up screaming, but hardly any highlights. When you're playing a team like the Patriots or the Eagles who have been around a lot longer. And to an extent, I get why the media writes us off because we went through a fucking drought of just mediocre football, and I get that. But that was like 5 years ago or something like that. Like, we've come a long way since then. We've been a 9-win team, which isn't great, but our division is getting harder and harder. Anyways, I just don't no, I'm with you. It fucking pisses me off. And this week, the Titans will have an opportunity to, like you said, just say fuck off to the country. And I said this last night while we were watching the UT game, is that this week, I believe, you have until 8:14 Saturday night.
You better hop
to become
on,
a
boys
Titans
and girls.
fan.
Yep.
You hop on now.
You better get on.
You are officially a bandwagon after tomorrow night's game. Recording this on Friday. After tomorrow night's game, you are officially a bandwagon fan. If we
don't
win.
want you. We don't need you. Fuck off.
No.
Train's pulling out of the station. All right?
Yeah.
We don't want you. That includes the media. Fuck you. We don't want you. We don't care. You counted us out for too long. All right?
Yeah. And
take a fucking hike, buddy.
They're going to try and jump on. They're going to be holding on to the sides. And
the Tannehill story, redemption. Fuck you. That's our story, not yours.
Yeah. It's no fucking respect. I mean, again, you look. Goddamn, Derrick Henry is the NFL rushing leader, Pro Bowler. And I think he's close to the top as far as touchdowns. And he is second all-team pro?
Which is kind of surprising because, one thing that another reason I keep harking back to drafting
by
these guys
100
from these
yards,
schools.
100 yards, 150 yards. He missed a game, and he still had the rushing title by over 100 yards. That So sorry to cut you off. It's insane.
It's just a little surprising because I would hope that our respect would grow as we continue to draft these Alabama guys and et cetera, big school guys, because those guys were getting all the love in college. So, they were the money makers for the CBSs, the ESPNs, the ABCs. And you would hope that, as they get to the pros, that level of respect would continue. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, I guess because we're the Titans, it hasn't. And Derrick Henry, and one thing I wanted to say, just to play a little devil's advocate to my own point, some of the reason the Titans haven't gotten the respect that we believe they're duly, owed is because they haven't had that star power name, right? I mean, it's been a lot of good guys, no star power, quarterback, receiver, running back, but Derrick Henry's becoming that guy. And what will be really interesting is to see, does the media start to recognize him as that guy, right? Is this, since, we had Eddie George and Steve McNair, is this the first guy that's given that kind of respect? I think we all feel like he's owed that. It's going to be really interesting. This is his chance. This is our chance Saturday to establish that we're a legitimate franchise with a legitimate star player in Derrick Henry. And by God, I hope we fucking take advantage of the opportunity. I really do.
Well, who's not far behind him as far as star power, as far as you look towards the future? We already talked about him, A.J. Brown.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I know point. You don't like do Instagram now, but it's like, okay, you look at Henry was the FedEx Ground Player of the Week, easy. I mean, he had 211 yards, got the rushing title, had at least 2 touchdowns. That's an easy choice, but he's done that periodically throughout the entire season, winning that kind of accolade. But you look at A.J. Brown, AFC Offensive Rookie of the Month. Ryan Tannehill, AFC Offensive Player of the Month. A.J. Brown should, if they give it to fucking Nick Bosa, I'm going to have a hemorrhage. Fucking A.J. Brown should be Rookie of the Year. And I think that is going to create the snowball effect of getting the fucking respect. Because everyone will be like, what, a Titans receiver is rookie? And no one,
great point.
No one outside of Tennessee watches our games. I think going back to that clip that we started the episode with, there's no way that Barstool's president, Portnoy, there's no way that he watches Titans games. So he doesn't know what we know. He doesn't know what's coming tomorrow night. And I'm sure he's seen highlights. I'm sure they put together, NFL's probably put together some, win percentage highlights, whatever. But A.J. Brown is in line, and I believe should be crowned Rookie of the Year. And I think that he has, if you look at how he dresses, how he carries himself, the confidence, he has, hopefully without the psychopath personality of Antonio Brown, he's got that same personality.
He's a dog. He's a monster.
He's a fucking dog. Dude, the matchup now, Derrick Henry, they're gonna load the box with Derrick Henry. The matchup to look at tomorrow night is A.J. Brown versus Gilmore.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that we're starting to. So, Matt, I don't know about you, but at this point, I want to start transitioning into this game in particular, not from an emotional standpoint, but from kind of a statistics, matchups, what we think needs to happen in order for the Titans to win. So on the A.J. Brown, and I'm going to kind of be teeing you up because you do know more about specific players and matchups. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say about what these guys can do and what the key matchups are. So I wanted to go over this first, though, because on A.J. Brown, these are some remarkable numbers, okay? Now, I want you to think about this. Jonnu Smith has 35 receptions for 439 yards on the year, okay? 35 receptions. He averages 12.5 yards per reception. A.J. Brown has 52 receptions on the year, so only 17 more. He has 1,051 yards on the year. Mind you, most of that has come in the back half of the year. Most of that has.
Yeah.
He is averaging 20.2 yards per reception. That is by far the best on the Titans. And I don't, like I said, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm not a huge stats guy from the standpoint of just knowing things off the top of my head. I would love to know the last time a rookie receiver in the NFL has averaged over 20 yards per fucking reception. His long on the year is 91 yards, and he has 8 touchdowns. Remarkable numbers for a guy that was a no-name, for the most part, at the beginning of the year. He's come on strong. He's been huge for the Titans. And the Patriots are going to have their fucking hands full with this guy. Matt, what are the Patriots going to do to stop him?
Well, they're going to put their best corner on him, which is Gilmore. But just a quick note on what you said, the 91-yard touchdown, is that everyone knows a quarterback cannot throw it 91 yards. So that ball was actually thrown, we'll say, like 30 to 40 yards maybe. And the elusive capability of A.J. Brown is the reason why he scored. People... what's special about A.J. Brown is his yards after the catch. That is where
his
he's
yak
dangerous.
is ridiculous.
And so that is how I honestly think that's how he is going to win that matchup. He has to be able to get off the line, brush off Gilmore's hands, trying to get on him at the line, get him off route. He's going to have to stay true. And he's bigger and stronger than Gilmore. I think he's going to win that matchup. And then once he makes the catch, one thing he does is you always see is he will catch the ball, and as he's going to catch the ball, you can see his feet. If he's got room to run, he will put his his outside foot to the ground as he's going out wide. And he plants that right as he catches, and he will spin back inwards to try to make a play. He does that on a consistent basis. And if Gilmore, he's going to be looking for that. But if Gilmore overshoots the ball or overshoots him, he's going to be gone.
He's fast. I mean, he's got, as we call it around here, SEC speed, and he's got it to burn. I mean, is, when he gets in the open field, he is gone. You're not. And the thing that's so impressive about him is a lot of times he's caught the ball in what I'll call a little bit of cluttered space, and he still hasn't been touched and has taken it to the house. And the guy has unbelievable speed. And the thing, I think the Patriots could do one of two things. I think they'll either put Gilmore on him, or they'll double team Brown and put Gilmore on Davis. I mean, I could see either one happening. It's going to be interesting to see. And I think at some point in the time during the game, you'll obviously see both. But, the Titans receivers against the Patriots secondary is going to be unreal. Now, I'll say this. New England's defense, opponent points per game, 14.1, number 1 in the league. Opponent yards per game, 275.9, number 1 in the league. Opponent points per play, 0.27 or 0.237, number 1 in the league. Yards per play, 4.7, number 1 in the league. Third down conversions, 24.1%, number 1 in the league. So the key thing for me, looking at these numbers, Matt, is going to be when the Titans get those 3rd and 3 to 3rd and 6, 7 downs, can they convert? Can they keep the drive alive? Can A.J. Brown get open and get the first down? The Titans cannot afford to get in a hole early against the Patriots on the road. They have to assert their will in the trenches. They have to create manageable third down situations, and they have to convert those third downs into first downs, because that is the way the Patriots will beat us. I think even if the Titans struggle on offense, I don't think that the Patriots are going to blow us out. Now, the one thing that's interesting looking at the stats is even though the Patriots offense in general struggles. I mean, they're middle of the pack in yards per game. So overall, their offense is 15th in the league at 354 yards.
Yeah.
However, points per game, 26.2, they're number 7. So to me, the key is don't give the Patriots anything free. And what that tells me, with the Patriots being high in points per game, but their offensive stats all being below that, the defense is creating easy, manageable opportunities for the offense, which they are then turning into points. So the Titans cannot afford to give the Patriots anything easy. We have to move the chains. We have to control the clock. We have to control the line of scrimmage and create. It's so cliche, but open up the passing game through the run. You have the number 1 rusher in the NFL. He is a fucking monster. Blow them up in the trenches. Get them to stack the box. Create those one-on-one matchups with Gilmore and A.J. Brown and Corey Davis on the edge. And trust your guys to go up and get the fucking football and win the game. If the Titans are able to do that, I believe they have as good of a chance to win that game in Foxborough as anyone in the league. AFC, NFC, Ravens, Chiefs, don't care. The Titans can't do it because they have the pieces in the trenches with running back situation, the quarterback even, I believe, to make it happen.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I think what's special, and you mentioned them earlier, but I'll mention 2 other guys as well, because A.J. Brown is getting attention amongst the league for what he's doing. I believe they're going to put Gilmore on. That's kind of what everyone's been saying, Gilmore on him. And you've got Derrick Henry, so you have to stack the box, but you also have to get someone on A.J. Then you can't forget about Corey Davis, number 5 overall pick, just a couple years ago. And you can't forget about him. So you got to put someone on him. The 3 players that could fly way under the radar, that might be the actual heroes of the game: Jonnu Smith, Michael Pruitt, and Ferkser. Those 3 tight ends.
On Jonnu Smith, just to kind of tee you up a little bit, to go a little bit deeper into this, what have the Titans seen that have given him the opportunities in the running back slot? And what role what has allowed him to usurp Delanie Walker? I know Delanie has dealt with some injuries, but, what matchup problems do you think he creates? In what situations do you think the Titans could utilize him at running back that will create problems for New England? Because we have seen them do it effectively in the last few games, and he's broken off some huge plays.
Yeah, I think he is a great asset in the run game when it comes to screens. Obviously, I know that's not necessarily a run, but if you line Derrick Henry, you line Derrick Henry and at the quote-unquote fullback position, you put Jonnu Smith. Defenses are going to be so fucking confused because you have Derrick Henry going to one side, and then you have Jonnu Smith, whether if it's play action, going out into the screen position, and that's where he's gotten a lot of his big plays because he's very quick once he gets in the open. So I think he is going to be a threat because at that point you're putting Jonnu is more than likely going up against a safety at that point. And I'll take that matchup every day. I think where he doesn't, I mean, the only thing that he struggles with, which is obviously, you don't want it to happen, is that he will sometimes drop the pass. And, but if you give him something to work with, something easy, as far as screens and quick throws, whether it's slants or kind of in a bubble route, then I think that he's going to be able to create some really good matchups with safeties and maybe some of the bigger defensive linemen that kind of are there to cover him. I think he can just beat him. So, yeah, that's where I say I think those 3 people Most people in the country don't know who they are, and that's okay. I think that they're going to be the unsung heroes of this game because they're going to have to stop Derrick Henry. They're going to have to stop A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, and keep a spy on Tannehill because he could run the ball too. I think those guys could be the impact players. Now, I do think that Derrick Henry and A.J. are going to get their own. They're going to get fed. But I think when it comes like the third downs, third and kind of mid-range, 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 2s, you're going to get a lot of tight end play, and we'll just turn the old Patriot way. We'll just give them what they were given the rest of the league for seasons with Gronk, just utilizing our tight ends really well.
And shout out to shitty college football, okay? Jonnu Smith, he went. I know I was shitting on bad college football earlier, Matt.
Yeah.
Hey, Jonnu, you went to FIU. You're getting it done. It is possible, okay? I'm just saying in general, I want to see my Titans draft dogs. I want to see big guys from big leagues, But, hey, it is possible, so just wanted to give a shout-out there. The one stat that, because I do have all this pulled up. I've been kind of poring over it prior to the call that we have here, and the key thing that I keep looking at is New England's offense, number 3 in the league giveaways per game, 0.9. So basically 1 turnover per game. Takeaways per game, 2.2, which is number 2 in the league. So their turnover margin per game, 1.3. So to me, what that tells me is that if the Titans lose the turnover battle, they're in trouble. They have to take care of the football. They have to go up there. They have to run. Don't put yourself in opportunities where you're having to force footballs. Control the ground. Don't have any silly fumbles. And just go up there and just assert your dominance on the ground. I mean, I really think if the Titans can do that, good chance to be successful. But that stat to me, looking at this and saying, well, they don't give the ball away that much, but hell, they sure take the ball away a lot, and they're number 1 in turnover differential margin in the league. So Titans, got to win the turnover battle. Got to at least break even. Take care of the football. Everything else should take care of itself.
Yeah, it's always hard to dig yourself out of a hole if you're losing that battle. So, I think you're right. As long as Henry doesn't have any just silly fumbles, which he hasn't done a whole lot this year. I know he's had a couple here and there, but you can look up how many fumbles he's had. But turnover battle is going to be huge. I think if we learned anything from last year's game versus the Patriots, you put pressure on Brady, he is not the same quarterback. He makes his indecisiveness. It's not that it's not there, but if you get him off his feet, he's very inaccurate, and I think he's overly safe with the ball. I think that their offense is set up to where there's always somebody's going to be open on every play. And I think that's how the Patriots have won consistently, and they have someone at quarterback, Brady, who has the patience to find that person. So I think that's why they're special. But if you take him, if he gets off balance, he makes very inaccurate throws. It's sometimes almost deliberate inaccurate throws to avoid a turnover. And that might be giving way too much credit to Brady.
No, I don't think it is. That's the mark of a season. And in my opinion, I mean, look, Matt, we're from Peyton Manning country. A lot of people, I graduated from the University of Tennessee. I love the University of Tennessee almost to a fault. But I mean, we're playing not his best version of himself, but in my opinion, we're going up against the best quarterback of all time. And a lot of people want to say that it is because he's a system quarterback, but I think it comes down to things like you just said. he deliberately makes throws to avoid turnovers. Well, that's what great quarterbacks do. They put the balls in spots where they can't be picked off.
Right.
And, as he gets older and, his limitations become different physically, he has adapted his game. And it's going to be really interesting to see, is it still enough to beat a team like the Titans, who are really hot right now and who have cornerbacks who will be aggressive, who will get in your face, a defensive line who is not afraid to come after your ass and get to you. So going to be really interesting. Just kind of wanted to touch on that. I do believe that, I think we're going up against the greatest quarterback of all time. And I'm not ashamed to say that, even being from the town where Peyton played. So.
Yeah, no, he's definitely the greatest. I think just one other quick thing that I think is going to play a factor, for better or worse, for each team is the Patriots are coming off a loss to the Dolphins.
Yikes.
Now, if they had won that game, they would have locked up the bye.
And so home field advantage for a couple rounds, right? I mean, at least
home
one.
Field advantage. Yeah, and so what's crazy is that I forget the exact year, but I'm pretty sure the Patriots have not played in a wild card they have not played on wild card weekend since like 2008.
Wow.
But they made
That's
the playoffs
fucking impressive.
Every year since then. They've always had a bye. Whether they're the number 1 or the number 2 seed, they've always had a bye. And so this is going to be a test for them, because they had, if they lost to the Dolphins, but they still had the bye locked up, okay, you got a week to kind of get over it. But now you have a short week, Sunday to Saturday, to figure your shit out. And you're going to get, you've lost, the last game you lost was against the fucking Dolphins, who are the abomination of the NFL. I get it that they've won a couple of games to kind of, quote unquote, save their coach's season, which is, let's be honest, is what they were playing for. But they've lost to the Dolphins. We, on the other hand, the Titans, beat the Texans, granted, asterisk. They weren't playing all their starters, but still had to beat them to get to the playoffs for a playoff berth. We are on fucking cloud 9 rolling, and the Patriots are having to pick themselves up somehow. And I think that is going to show.
Well, here's the thing, too. Just looking at their schedule. Okay, they started out 8-0, and they finished the back half of the schedule, they went 4-4.
They're not the same.
Pittsburgh, trash. Miami, trash. Jets, trash. Buffalo, Washington, trash. Giants, trash. Jets, trash. Cleveland, overrated, trash. Got drilled by Baltimore. Barely beat Philadelphia. Barely beat Dallas. Both trash. Lost to Houston. Lost to Kansas City, who your Tennessee Titans beat. Drilled Cincinnati. Terrible. Beat Buffalo. I mean, beating Buffalo twice is kind of their claim to fame this season. Then lost to Miami. So who have they really beaten? What have they really done that separates them? They are a product of their division and their shitty-ass schedule. The Titans would be I think their record would be about the same if they played this schedule, just looking at it. I mean, maybe people would disagree with that. Maybe there's rankings out there to suggest that. I don't know. Maybe the Titans have actually played an easier schedule. I don't think so, just looking at this, though. But, it's not impressive, man. It's just really not.
It's not an argument as to who has a stronger strength or a higher strength of schedule. The Titans clearly do. The Texans are in the playoffs. We'll play them twice. The Colts, they've been injury plagued the entire season.
Fuck them, but yeah.
Yeah, fuck the Colts. But, and the Jags,
fell apart. Just a disaster.
Duval's
a disaster right now, yeah.
To acknowledge them at all, is just giving me a headache, but they can sneak one on you. They beat us in week 2. Now that's I don't want to get into that.
Well, Patriots fans and football fans, sorry to interrupt, but just they would look at that and say, well, you're sitting here talking shit about who we beat and played, but you lost to the Jags. Well, hey, buddy, let's not forget, it took the Titans halfway through the season to figure out who their quarterback was. All right, so we're a totally different team now. You've been the same team all year. So anyway, just wanted to say that.
So you have our division. There's maybe one team, the Jags. And, they can be an up and down team, depending on how, 1 week they can put up, 25 points, 28 points, and the next week they're putting up like 9 points. You don't know which one you're going to get. The Patriots have the Jets, trash. The Dolphins, trash. And the Bills, historically, trash. This year, they are, they're good. I think that I think the Texans-Bills will be a more exciting game than the Titans-Patriots. I think it'll be a closer game. I think that one will come down to the last couple of minutes. I think ours.
The Bills will miss a field goal. I mean, it'll be glorious. They'll miss a field goal like they always do, with a lot less on the line this time. But yeah, I mean, and I think that'll be kind of the barometer, where we'll be able to see, hey, we'll know how we stack up before we even go to that game, into that game. I think that game will tell you a lot, because if the Texans go down there and just absolutely maul the Bills, I don't know about you, Matt, but I'm going to be licking my motherfucking chops even more than I already am to get the Patriots on the field.
Oh yeah, dude. Yes. And, yes, no, I totally agree with you. But touch on the Bills, to touch on the Jets, to touch on the Dolphins, at any point in the last decade, or let's go further than that, since Tom Brady became the starter, when have they had at least one or two quality opponents in the division? I cannot think of a year. The only 2 seasons, the only era, I will say, are the Jets, Mark Sanchez years. The 2 years that they went to back-to-back AFC championships, that is the only time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That they have had to face somebody. So no shit, no fucking wonder why the Patriots. This is their first wild card weekend matchup.
6 wins basically guaranteed every single year.
Yeah, it's fucking bullshit. And so, I get it. Like, they're always still a good team. Like, regardless of the division quality, they're still a good team. They still win Super Bowls. So it doesn't seem to matter at the end of the day. But that being said, if you had 1 or 2 of those teams, like the AFC North, who's consistently putting up, like the Ravens, the Steelers, the Browns. Not really, but they can sneak one on you as far as the division goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they beat the Ravens, actually.
Is that the best jersey league in the NFL? Is that the best jersey? Do they have the best jerseys in the NFL, that division?
The Ravens?
Just the AFC North. I mean, we're talking some just awesome jerseys.
Yeah. I mean, they got some. I love the Ravens jerseys. I think
the purple's so fucking awesome.
When they black out, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're fucked.
That's a scary, yeah. They better do that every fucking game in the playoffs to guarantee them that edge.
Yeah, they better, because they're going to be wearing it to their own funeral when the Titans beat that ass in round 2. All right?
Dude, I think the Ravens will be one of the hardest matchups that we have faced this year. But I'm telling you, if there's any team on the AFC side in the playoffs to upset them, it's not the Chiefs. It's not. It's us, because we are we're a more dynamic team.
We're built on the ground,
Well, it's not dynamic because, the Chiefs have weapons, but it's a different style of football. It's the old school style. Dude, I'm telling you, if and when we win tomorrow night, I think the Ravens are actually They're a little bit nervous. They're more nervous than if they had to play the Patriots, because the Patriots have to go – either team has to go to Baltimore.
Correct.
So they're going to have the edge to begin with, and those fans are going to be fucking riled up because they haven't had a team like this in a long time. It's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. But I think that's going to be the toughest matchup of the entire at least on the AFC side. Whoever plays the Ravens – that'll be the toughest matchup.
I mean, in my opinion, they're the odds-on favorite right now to win the Super Bowl, right? I mean, they're you know,
at least
I
to make the
love.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If I was betting right now, I'd say Ravens against 49ers. I mean, I don't really trust Aaron Rodgers right now to finish the deal. I'm thinking Ravens 49ers. I'm hoping the Titans can throw a wrench into that. And yeah, it starts tomorrow night. But if you took out the division games for the Patriots, they're 7-3. And in my opinion, they've had now granted, this is outside of the division. I'm not trying to take away the Buffalo wins from them. I think those are decent wins. They beat them by 6 and 7. Whatever. It's still Buffalo. But in my opinion, these are their big tests. Okay. Baltimore on the road, lost by 17. Houston on the road, lost by 6. Kansas City at home, lost by a touchdown. So, I mean, we're not going to give them credit for beating Philadelphia by a touchdown and Dallas by 4, right? I mean, that division sucks ass. That is the worst division in football. So, in my opinion, when you look at this, they've had 3 big tests against, well, I'll give them Buffalo. Okay. But they're still 2-3 in those 5 games. They beat Buffalo twice by an average of 6.5 points. They got drilled by Baltimore. They lost to the Texans, and they lost to Kansas City. So, yeah. I mean, the Titans are a 5-point underdog, which, to be honest, has given us a fair amount of respect. I mean, that's basically just saying, oh, we're going to give them 5 points because it's in New England. So shout out to the bettors out there who are recognizing that, you know, the Titans have something that are going to that's something that's going to present a challenge. But another stat I wanted to bring to your attention, Matt, that I think is kind of interesting is, so points above average, you know, based on the line, what stats, what people think, you know, you should score. At home, the Patriots score 5.8 more points at home than what's predicted, okay?
Yeah.
The Titans, on the other hand, score now this is so interesting because the Titans are 4-4 at home this year. They're 5-3 on the road. So, I mean, you know, if and buts, right? But I mean, I attribute a lot of that to Marcus Mariota just sucking ass. At home, the Titans score negative 0.3 more points at home than what they're expected. Away, 8.3. So, you know, if you just, I hate to get lost down that rabbit hole, but if you do that, I mean, you're looking at a pretty even game. I mean, I think that there's going to be more points scored in this game. I mean, Matt, if you had to guess, what's the winning, what's the magic number? 27, 30? Like, what do the Titans have to get to win this game? You want to say lower because it's the playoffs, it's the Patriots, but yeah. I think this. I'm thinking if I had to guess right now, this is my final score. I'm going on record and saying it: Titans 27, New England 24. I think the magic number is 27.
So I was going to go. I think we have to eclipse 30. I think if
it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
I think if we can get low 30s, here's my prediction. Again, it's the playoffs. It's Foxborough. The Patriots should be able to put up some points. I'm going to say I'm going to say 33. I'm going to say
It's tough.
33. Yeah, I'm going to say like 33 to 28.
I think that's a good score. Yeah, I like that. I mean,
it just, the encouraging thing here is that the Titans have put up 40 points, 40 plus points. Actually, you know what? Let me get the actual just stats up here, because the Titans, since Tannehill's taken over, let's see how many fucking, here we go. Let's start with the Bucks. The Titans have put up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games over 30 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games over 30 points. Can you think of an era in the last decade where, since Tannehill's taken over, so you can use that as your barometer, we've had an offense that has consistently put up, and I'm not like, there's 2 other games in there that were high 20s. So and that was me not counting those. Putting up these kinds of numbers,
No.
We haven't seen this kind of offense
since we were children.
I honestly don't know when.
No. I mean, and one thing that you use, I don't care what you said after you said the word consistent. You said, can you remember the last times we're consistently blank? No. Fuck no. The only thing I can remember is the Titans consistently being mediocre, and I think we're finally seeing them break out of that. So, no, to answer your question, no, I cannot remember the last time the Titans were consistent on offense, creating an exciting brand of offensive football. You know, and the thing coming into this year that everyone said was, well, the Titans have a Super Bowl caliber defense, but the offense. And even though we're 9-7, when you look at the way we've been playing over the last several weeks, the offense is starting to catch up with the defense. Now, I'm not saying we're going to make the Super Bowl, but I'm telling you right now, if you think the Titans do not have a chance to beat the Patriots, to beat the Ravens, simply based on record, and you're not looking deeper into it, you're making a huge fucking mistake, because the Titans have all of the elements and all 3 phases of the game to create mismatch problems for everyone on the schedule in the playoffs right now. They do. And I know, obviously, the Cards, you know, it would have been nice to have performed this way all season, because maybe you'd be in a situation that the Texans are in, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, you look at the numbers that I gave you, and we've seen it the last several years, and I think a lot of it has been attributed to the inconsistency of Marcus Mariota, but the Titans have seemed to play better on the road. There's something about being road warriors, about taking off the blue and putting on the white, that brings out the best in the Titans. I think they like having that us against the world mentality. And I think all of that experience that they've gained over the last few years is going to pay off. These guys know they can win on the road. They've fucking done it. They've done it in the playoffs. They've done it against Kansas City. Like, they've done it against some of the best teams in the league on the road, and I see no reason why they can't do it tomorrow.
Yeah, dude. And honestly, I think this is a really good time to kind of wrap this up. As far as the Titans discussion is, the Titans they might have been doing this a lot longer, but it was definitely last week. The mantra amongst the players prior to the game: lock the gates. Lock the gates. We are in this gladiator mentality. We're going to beat the fuck out of them on the field. And, dude, going into Foxborough, lock those gates.
So you heard it here, 27-24 Titans for me, 33-28 Titans for Matt. Matt, to wrap it up, I know that we've talked about all of this already. I'm not trying to be too redundant. We have spent a ton of time on this game, which it deserves. In a brief sentence form, give me your 3 keys to the game tomorrow night. The Titans will win if
you control the ball on the ground.
1.
A.J. Brown is able to break away from Gilmore.
2.
Defense, control, and get after Tom Brady.
3. Yeah, I agree with every single one of those. That's it. So yeah, I mean, Matt, that was an awesome time. I cannot wait for tomorrow. 8:15, potential for snow, 80% chance of precipitation. So weather's going to be a factor no matter what form it comes in. The Tennessee Titans at the New England Patriots.
I'm so
Big
fucking
game.
pumped, dude. For those that are listening, not that many of you, that's okay.
It will change.
Yes, your boy and Drew will be at Central Flats watching this game. And so
We have
come
good
on
history
by.
there, Matt, of wins.
We do. That is where we saw the Chiefs' demise a couple years ago, where the Titans beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. So we've got good luck there. That's why we're watching there. We're hoping for the same. And Drew, this conversation was fucking awesome. Yeah, I think you earned your spot as a regular. I think this might be.
It was fun, you know.
It might be a consistent thing. So, anyways, you guys, as always, the Jacks suck, and thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. I know it's gone a little bit more than previous pods, but I think everyone can agree that this was arguably the best episode yet. And I'm excited to see where we go. I'm excited for tomorrow night. I think we should have a post game, not necessarily tomorrow night, but maybe Sunday or Monday, a post game
Kind of a rapid reaction deal, you know.
Yeah, just win or lose. We're going to give our input, and yeah, I think we should just go ahead and get that on the schedule.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And we'll get that out to you guys ASAP. So, anyways, thanks for listening, guys. Have a good rest of your day. And Drew, I'll see you fucking tomorrow.
Sounds good, buddy. See you then. Go Titans, tighten up!
Sack! Touchdown! Titans!
Titans!
My fucking best Mike Keith impression. And it's
pretty good.
Sucked. That's okay.
Nah, that was pretty good.
All right. I'll take that. All right, guys. You have a good one. See ya.
See ya.